As she stepped into the room, a hush fell over it. Her classmates stared at her with a strange mix of disgust and pity. Nana's heart started to beat faster. What was going on? Nana was the star student of Victoria Noble Academy, an all-girls secondary school known for its high standards. At just 16, she stood out, not just for her striking beauty, but for her sharp mind. She had always been at the top of her class, pushing herself hard to maintain that title. Every morning, Nana rose early, neatly dressed in her uniform, eyes filled with determination. Her long black hair was always tied into two neat top buns, and her face glowed with a natural beauty that didn't need makeup. As she walked through the school gates, heads would turn, and whispers followed. "There goes Nana," the girls would say. "Always perfect. Always the best." But Nana didn't let the comments get to her. She stayed focused on what mattered, her studies. In class, she was always up front, soaking in every word the teacher said. Her hand was always the first to shoot up. Her answers, always correct. Still, her beauty didn't go unnoticed. It had started to become a distraction, even for the teachers. Mr. Thompson, the math teacher, would sometimes stumble over his words when speaking to her. Mr. Oka, who taught literature, admired not only her essays but also the graceful way she wrote. But Nana? She was unaware. Or maybe just too focused to care. After school, while others hurried off to clubs or home, Nana stayed back in the classroom. She'd pull out her books, spread them across her desk, and dive deep into her studies. One evening, as the sun cast long shadows across the empty room, she was still there, lost in a literature textbook. She didn't notice when someone walked in. "Nana, you're still here," a voice called out. She looked up. It was Aisha, a classmate, standing at the door. "Oh, hi, Aisha," Nana smiled. "Yeah, just finishing up some extra reading." Aisha walked over, eyes scanning the mountain of books on Nana's desk. She shook her head and let out a soft laugh. "Nana," she said, "if I were as beautiful as you, I wouldn't even bother with all this. You could easily get favors from the teachers. They all admire you." Nana's brows knit together. "What do you mean?" Aisha gave a sly smile. "Haven't you noticed how they look at you? Especially Mr. Thompson and Mr. Oka. You could get top grades without breaking a sweat." Nana stared, stunned. She'd never once thought of using her looks to her advantage. "But that wouldn't be right," she said quietly. Aisha shrugged. "Just something to think about. Anyway, I'm heading home. Don't stay too late, okay?" As Aisha left, Nana sat still, her mind racing. She'd always believed in hard work, in earning every achievement honestly. But was Aisha right? Could things really be easier if she leaned into her beauty? Her thoughts swirled as she packed up and headed home. The streets were quiet, the streetlights casting soft halos on the ground. Aisha's words echoed in her mind. And for the first time, Nana wondered, was her beauty more powerful than she realized? At home, her parents greeted her with warm smiles. They were so proud of her. Always had been. But tonight, Nana was distracted. At dinner, she barely touched her food, her thoughts still circling the conversation with Aisha. Later, in her room, instead of pulling out her books like usual, she stood in front of the mirror. She studied her reflection. Clear skin. Bright, alert eyes. Soft features. Had she been blind to the power she carried? Lying in bed that night, she made a decision. Tomorrow, she'd try something different. She'd test Aisha's theory. See if her beauty could open doors she'd never considered before. What Nana didn't know was that this choice, this quiet shift, would change everything. The next morning, she got up earlier than usual. She stood at her mirror, heart thumping, then reached for the small makeup kit she'd gotten for her birthday but never used. With trembling fingers, she applied a light layer of foundation, a touch of blush, and a hint of lip gloss. She let her hair down, soft waves framing her face. As she stepped onto the school grounds, she felt the difference instantly. More eyes on her than usual. Louder whispers. Even a few teachers did a double take. In Mr. Thompson's math class, her chance came. He handed out a surprise quiz. Panic gripped her, she hadn't studied. But then she remembered Aisha's words. As Mr. Thompson came around to collect the papers, Nana looked up at him and smiled sweetly. "Mr. Thompson," she said softly, "I hope I did well on the quiz." I just want to keep my grades up in your class," Nana said quietly. Mr. Thompson looked up from his papers, caught off guard. "I'm sure you did fine, Nana. You're one of my best students," he said with a reassuring smile, though his voice was a little shaky. The next day, Nana's quiz came back with a perfect score. She blinked at the red ink circled at the top. She hadn't even finished all the questions. Has she really done that well? Or was Aisha right? It started off small, tiny gestures. A warm smile. A casual compliment. Before long, Nana noticed something strange. Teachers smiled wider at her, gave her more leniency, and her grades stayed high even when she knew she hadn't earned them. At first, it was a relief. No more staying up till 2 a.m. stressing over tests. She could breathe. But the ease of it became addictive. The less she studied, the more she leaned into her looks. A flick of her lashes here, a soft laugh there. It was working, too well. And while Nana floated on the surface of her effortless success, she missed the shifting currents underneath. Classmates started whispering. Girls who used to ask her for help now rolled their eyes when she walked by. She didn't see it, but Aisha did. She watched it all unfold from the sidelines, a mix of pride and bitterness tightening in her chest. She had joked about using charm to get ahead, but she hadn't expected Nana to surpass her at her own game. Then, one afternoon, Nana stayed late to return a book. As she passed by an empty classroom, she heard voices inside. She slowed, then froze. "Have you noticed Nana lately?" Mr. Okafor's voice drifted through the crack in the door. "Yeah," Miss Thompson replied. "She's different. It's like she knows the power she has and she's using it." "It's becoming an issue," Mr. Okafor said. "Other students are starting to complain. They think we're playing favorites." "Can you blame them?" Mr. Thompson chuckled. "She's a beautiful girl. But you're right, we need to be careful." Then his voice dropped lower. "Maybe we can get her to meet us off campus. Somewhere. Private." Nana's stomach dropped. Her chest tightened. She backed away, heart racing, and fled down the hallway. That night, she couldn't sleep. The weight of what she'd heard pressed on her like a stone. What had started as a harmless experiment was spiraling into something she hadn't bargained for. She had never meant to offer more than a smile, but now it felt like people were expecting something she wasn't willing to give. The next day, the halls felt different. Every glance from a teacher felt loaded. Every word carried a question she didn't want to answer. Guilt and fear twisted inside her. She found Aisha under the tree where they used to hang out, phone in hand, face unreadable. "Aisha," Nana said, her voice barely steady. "I need to talk." Aisha looked up with a smirk. "What's up, beauty queen? Enjoying your throne?" "I think I messed up," Nana whispered. "The teachers. They are starting to expect something. I overheard them talking. They want more than just smiles." Aisha's face stilled. "So, you've already gotten this far. Just finish what you started." Nana stepped back. "No. That's not who I am. I can't do that. Why not? Aisha asked, eyes cold. You liked the parks, didn't you? Don't act innocent now. No. This is wrong, Nana said, voice firm. I'm done. She walked away, not seeing the look on Aisha's face, something dark and bitter rising behind her eyes. The next morning, Nana came to school fresh-faced, her hair tied in her usual ponytails. No makeup. No games. She was ready to face the music. But something was off. Students stood in small clusters, whispering. When she walked past, they looked at her like she was something shameful. In the classroom, everything stopped. Then Aisha's voice rang out, loud and clear. Well. If it isn't our favorite teacher's pet. Or should I say, little hoe. The words hit Nana like a slap. What are you talking about? She asked, stunned. Aisha stood up, eyes glittering with malice. Come on, Nana. Everyone knows how you've been getting those grades. Sleeping with the teachers. That's low, even for you. Nana's heart pounded in her chest. That's not true, she cried. I never. Nana tried to explain herself, but no one was listening. Her protests fell on deaf ears. The rumors, vicious, unstoppable, had spread through the school like wildfire. Just then, Miss Agata, the school principal, appeared at the classroom door. Her face was stern, her voice icy. Nana, come with me. To my office. Now. The hallways felt longer than usual as Nana followed Miss Agata in silence. She could feel the stares burning into her skin, whispers trailing behind her like shadows. Her eyes stung with tears she was trying not to let fall. Inside the principal's office, the silence was deafening. Miss Agata didn't waste time. I've heard some very disturbing rumors about your behavior with male teachers, she said, her tone sharp. This is a serious accusation. But it's not true, Nana said, her voice shaking. I never did anything like that. I mean, yes, I tried to use my looks to get better grades. But I never crossed any lines. I swear. Miss Agata's expression didn't change. Whether it's true or not, the damage is done. Parents are calling, threatening to pull their children out if you remain here. You've become a liability, Nana. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. What does that mean? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. It means, Miss Agata said with a sigh, we have no choice but to expel you from Victoria Noble Academy. Expelled. The word echoed in Nana's mind. Her perfect record, gone. Her dream of graduating top of her class, shattered. It didn't feel real. As she walked out of the office, numb, she caught sight of Aisha standing in the corridor. A triumphant smirk curled on her former best friend's lips. At that moment, Nana understood the betrayal in full. Aisha had set her up. The days that followed were a blur of tears, shouting, and slammed doors. Her parents were heartbroken. They didn't believe the rumors, but they were furious that she had tried to manipulate her grades. We raised you better than this, her father said, voice heavy with disappointment. Her mother, more pragmatic, said, you need a fresh start. We'll find another school. You can't let this ruin your future. And they did. After endless calls and paperwork, Nana was enrolled in IKA High School, a public school worlds apart from the polished, high-standard halls of Victoria Noble. On her first day, standing outside the gates, Nana felt like a stranger in her own skin. The confident, overachieving girl she used to be had vanished. All that was left was a quiet, broken version of her, trying to hold it together. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. This was her second chance. A chance to prove that she was more than just a pretty face. A chance to rewrite her story, not for anyone else, but for herself. What she didn't know was that IKI would test her in ways she never imagined. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning.